We have a quorum. The committee will come to order. We don't have a quorum? Okay. Now we have a quorum? Okay, thank you. So committee is in order. Each member has before them a copy of the material that's on our agenda. So what we're here today to do is to consider the committee's budget views and estimates for the fiscal year 2020. As required by the Congressional Budget Act and in compliance with House rules. It's no surprise that the priorities laid out in this letter line up with the priorities of the 2018 Farm Bill. And USDA is ramping up that process of implementation right now. We'll be hearing about that later from the Secretary this morning. Our funding priorities focus on putting those programs we designed to help farmers, rural communities, working families, and others into place as quickly and efficiently as possible. The 2018 Farm Bill is a fiscally responsible bill that we are proud to say will help the people it's supposed to. It spends no new money, and we streamlined some of the programs and found some additional resources to do administrative efficiencies to do some other things that we thought we needed to do. As the economy improves, the price tag on the SNAP program decreases. We created some new programs to help struggling dairy farmers. We invested in the next generation of farmers and ranchers, including farmers of color and returning veterans. We legalized industrial hemp. And I will just say to anybody that's listening, don't get overly enthusiastic about this. Slow down. There's a bunch of snake oil salesmen out there. And,
hemp
you know,
oil salesmen?
yeah. Well, this is going to be a good industry, but it's going to take a while, and we don't have any processing. And I just hear so much stuff about this. Everybody's all fired up about it. It's going to be good, but just slow down, take your time, and so we don't get ahead of ourselves. We also boosted support for local and organic foods. We invested in animal health measures, which is extremely important given the fact of avian swine fever and some other things that are on the horizon. Rural broadband expansion is something we've been trying to do. Tools to combat opioid addiction in rural communities. So there's a lot of good stuff in the Farm Bill. And as a result, we had an overwhelming bipartisan success. I want to commend the chairman for his leadership, former chairman Conaway, who's now the ranking member. We had 369 members of the House voted for the Farm Bill. That's far and away the most people that have ever voted for the Farm Bill in the history of the country. And I hope it makes it clear to all who are listening that these are priorities that have strong support in both parties across all growing regions and crops and in communities big and small nationwide. It's also my hope that such a bipartisan vote will set the tone for what we do here in the future. Our work on this committee is going to be bipartisan, if I have anything to say about it. Our challenges demand it. And amongst those largest challenges is what confronts us right now with our farmers and ranchers. The situation that our producers have is shaky at best, and I'm a little worried that it's going to get worse into the future. We have farmers in the southern part of the United States that have gotten clobbered by too much rain and other storm problems, and that disaster program that they needed didn't get into the omnibus bill, which is a big problem. And I'm committed to do whatever I can to make sure that that gets done, because I've been down meeting with those folks. If we don't get help for them, a lot of people aren't going to survive, right, Austin? You know, so that's 100% on my agenda. You know, we've been faced this before, and we'll figure out how to get through it. But I'm a little bit worried that we're going to be facing some tough times, and we're going to have to step up to the challenge as that materializes. So with all that, I appreciate all the members of the committee being here, and for all of their work, the ones that have been here in the last Congress and the new members that are going to be helping us step up to the plate in this Congress. And with that, I recognize the distinguished ranking member from Texas for any remarks that he might have.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and let the record reflect the portrait of you behind you. It looks very similar to the guy sitting in the chair. So it's we'll be able to watch you age right in front of our very own eyes. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate that. This meeting this morning is to consider the committee's annual budget views and estimates letters to the Budget Committee. And while I'm prepared to support the letter, I do have some major concerns. As everyone on the committee is aware, we're entering the 6th straight year of a recession in farm and ranch country. I'll not recite the litany of troubling statistics this morning, but suffice it to say, things are looking very bleak in rural America. I would submit that if current conditions persist, this committee may have to reevaluate its position on the budget. I don't want to spend a lot of time digging up old bones, but from my point of view, we've frittered away a lot of dollars on new and questionable programs in the Farm Bill that we should have been spending those dollars to bolster the farm safety net. I voiced those concerns during the conference committee report, but unfortunately I did not get a lot of traction at the time. So we are now at a point where conditions in farm and ranch country are continuing to worsen, and we do not have any additional dollars to devote to mitigating economic losses. Now, I know there's a tendency to lay current conditions at the doorstep of the administration on account of retaliatory tariffs leveled by our trading partners. But we all know that the agricultural economy has been in the tank since 2014, 3 years before this administration ever came along. What is more, nobody knows better than farmers and ranchers just how badly the global playing field needs to be leveled so the United States can compete fairly and freely with other countries. That's what makes the USMCA and our ongoing talks with China that are all about. I believe the President will strike an agreement with China that will further level the playing fields just as successfully as he negotiated a new agreement with Canada and Mexico. And assuming bipartisan support for the USMCA, this will certainly help the entire U.S. economy. But this by itself may not be enough to address current conditions, so I want to put the committee on notice that the budget letter before us may not meet the needs of struggling farmers and ranchers and may need to be revisited. Finally, the letter before us lays out problems inside and outside the Farm Bill that are today confronting our farmers and ranchers. But the letter is silent on some big issues, including regulations that add significant costs to doing business to our already cash-strapped farmers and ranchers. The administration is doing its best to provide relief to farm and ranch country on this score. But the House majority is now eyeing even new regulations whose damage to farmers and ranchers and the rural economy will be staggering. I'm speaking, of course, of the Green New Deal, which would hit the energy-intensive business of farming and ranching the hardest of any sector in our economy. Not long ago, we beat back the Obama administration's cap and tax proposal, but the proposal before the House today makes cap and tax look like a walk in the park. There is not enough money in our U.S. Treasury to offset the effects of that proposal would have if we're ever to become law. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your new leadership on the committee. Look forward to working with you on a bipartisan basis. Now yield back.
Thank the gentleman. So the business today is to adopt the committee's budget views and estimates letter that was prepared in consultation with the ranking member, Mr. Conaway, and it must be submitted to the Budget Committee pursuant to the Congressional Budget Act and the House rules. I now recognize the ranking member for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee approve the letter regarding its views and estimates so that it may be forwarded to the Budget Committee.
Thank the gentleman. That is a debatable motion. Does any member wish to discuss the letter? Hearing no discussion, the question is on the motion offered by the gentleman from Texas to approve the letter. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying nay. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the letter is approved. Does any member wish to file any supplement, minority, or additional views to the letter that will be transmitted to the Budget Committee? If